Let me tell you guys something. Back in my day, when I went to conventions, whether it be an anime-esque convention, a gaming convention, I did not see some of the things I am seeing nowadays at these conventions. You know, I took a few years break, I think, from going to conventions, and suddenly when I come back, there is just the most disgusting things you would ever see at these conventions. Nobody is surprised with the demographics that go there of people with poor physiognomy, people with poor hygiene. We all know this. We all know the story of Rainforest. If you guys don't know it, you should look it up. It was a furry convention where they left diapers everywhere and went, ooh, as a blue wolf. But anyway, what I am seeing at these conventions, in addition to the furries, is very sexually explicit content. The problem with that is that there are children walking around freely at these conventions. And a lot of time at these conventions, there's not even a sort of separator for the children to not see this content. And it will be very sexually explicit, OnlyFans-esque material, whether it be of drawing porn or actual girls doing the photos, and they're selling the posters of it. We have the Coomer jerk-off booth. What do you think of that, Chris? What do you think of the Coomer jerk-off booth?
This reminds me of being an AVN or XBiz or Exotica. This is more closely resembles like a porn convention.
I'll step on you for $5. What would you do for 10?
Both of you. Both of us.
Yeah? What if a guy comes up and says 100, then what?
Whatever he wants.
Anything he wants? You'll give him happy ending? These children are just able to walk around and see it with no sort of segregation, no sort of 18 plus only area. Even at places like Spencer's where they have an 18 plus section, they tend to censor it off for the children that walk in. Or if you go into a sex toy store, they tend to have plus 18 section. But with this, there seems to be no sort of separation with the children and the sexual content. And maybe you guys will be like, you know what? What does it matter? Kids have such easy access to porn nowadays anyway. Well, it doesn't just stop there with the explicit photos. No, there are people, a lot of the time men, walking around in lingerie or their whatever version of their kinky outfit out at these conventions, just walking around freely as there's children walking around. And I really feel as though a lot of people, but especially these men, are utilizing cosplay as sort of a way to express their hypersexuality. And it's just not an appropriate place to do so when you have people of all ages going to these things. It just doesn't seem like a family-friendly thing, if you know what I mean. It just seems very predatory to me that these men will go and walk around in essentially what is lingerie or maid costumes. For some reason, they're always in a freaking maid costume. People go absolutely ballistic over pride parades and the hypersexuality that goes on there and how they wear sex toy garments or lingerie or do sexually explicit things in front of children. But meanwhile, these conventions for some reason seem to get a pass for it, and I don't really understand why, and I haven't really seen anybody speak up about it. I just think it's really predatory and disgusting that a lot of these guys walk around in their maid costumes, their lingerie, and their panties in front of children. They're not even transgender, by the way, so don't even say, oh, this is transphobia or something. This has nothing to do with transphobia. These are grown men walking around in lingerie in front of children, walking around in their kink suits in front of children, booths everywhere with porn on it, and it's all fine. It's all good. No separation for the children, no 18 plus, nothing. They're not only being kind of predatory in that sense, but also it really waters down the value of cosplay as an art form. Cosplay is supposed to be something fun that takes skill, that's creative and cool to look at. And this is not cool to look at. Like, honestly, I want to fucking throw up looking at it. This makes me feel like my eyes are made of lye and they're burning a hole in the back of my skull when I have to go around looking at this. And it is rampant. It is not just like a one-off thing. It's like everywhere you turn at these conventions, there are men utilizing cosplay, use it as a guise to show off their kink to everyone, to be a pervert. These guys are utilizing cosplay to exercise their perversion around children. It's in the same vein as the drag show stuff. It's in the same vein as the Pride Parade stuff, and nobody is talking about it. I don't know, do you guys really think it's a good thing to have kids around that? Is it a good thing that these kids are going up to the booths and maybe exploring their potential future of prostituting themselves or becoming porn addicts or becoming hypersexual like these freaks walking around in their kink suits and disgusting thongs with their hairy ass cheeks? Is that really something we want to utilize to inspire children? I don't think so. I don't think that this is a step forward in humanity, and I think that it should stop and we should really bring some attention to it. I wish I could show you guys a lot of the things that I see at these conventions, but the problem is with YouTube is they're going to demonetize it. But I promise you guys, go to these conventions, look at the booths, look at the 18 plus booths that they don't separate, look at the people walking around in literal lingerie, grown-ass men utilizing anime as a facade to have their things hanging out around children. But it's okay, it's Japanese, it's kawaii. No, fuck off. Maybe the organizers of these sort of convention events, anime convention events, gaming conventions, don't really think about the consequences of this, or maybe they do and they just don't care and they just want money. I'm inclined to believe the second one, but in either case, I'm bringing attention to it now. I would really like to see, and I think most people who are sane would not like children to be exposed to this gross stuff. I don't want to be exposed to it. I want to throw up. Like, I don't want to fucking see it, let alone children. And it's just so unnecessary. You don't need this in order for a convention to be successful or to exist. We didn't have this back 5 years ago at conventions. And if we did, it was like a one-off person and maybe they got bullied for it. It wasn't this rampant epidemic of hypersexualization extending to even gaming culture or with anime at these conventions. Of course, there's always hentai and sexual things, but it was not like this. And there certainly were not explicit booths like this. Not only should these convention organizers do something about this in terms of either not allowing children there, or if they're going to have it, to separate it from the children in its own section, but in addition to that, I think that we really need to start calling out these people when we're at these conventions and we see them dressed like that around children. They should not be, ooh, happy and nilly-willy taking photos with people. These perverts that are around children should not feel this comfortable in public to act the way that they do. And it's just sickening. You really just see it everywhere. Even with social media platforms protecting predators, you're not allowed to use the term groomer anymore on Twitter. And it just all lines up with hypersexuality near children. And I am not supportive of it. And I will speak out against it. And I think everyone else should too. If you don't speak out about anything, let this be the one thing. I make a lot of like tongue-in-cheek, funny, ironic content, but this is actually a very important topic to me and I take it very seriously. So I really hope that the word spreads out there that this is a current issue that is happening right now and nothing is being done about it. Thank you guys for supporting my content. You can join the community Discord at patreon.com/Brittany Venti. And that's all I have to say at this point. I hate this place.